Hello, and welcome back to the Perseverance Works. Today, I'm going to show you a critical component of much of the work I do here, but never more important than when I'm building an instrument, and that's hide glue. A lot of people have questions about hide glue because it's become unfamiliar in a modern wood shop, but it's easy to make, it's easy to use, and today I'm going to show you just how simple it is. To make your fresh hot hide glue, you will need hide glue granules from a supplier of refined hide glue. You can get this in anything from 1-pound bags, much like I do, up to 55-gallon drums directly from rendering plants that produce hide glue. Oh, disclaimer, this is not a vegan product. The material you choose can be ground or pellet. The only difference is how long it takes to hydrate. And it will come in one of two clarities, either standard or high clarity, which is used where glue lines could be visible. It will also have a varying rating for the gram strength. Now, this does not directly correlate to the strength of the final joint, but rather to the amount of glue solids, collagen solids that are left in that joint, which does affect the strength of the joint relative to the amount of glue used. But more importantly, it affects how quickly the glue gels and holds when you're using it. You will need fresh water. Any will do. A scale, a mixing container and stir stick, something to heat the glue in. The glue should be heated to right around 140 degrees. If you go above 160, the collagen will denature and it will no longer function as glue. Too low, and it won't be hot enough to become liquid and make a good bond. Some people make their own out of potpourri warmers, wax melters, or crock pots. For my time and money, just buy one. And don't forget your coffee. Now, it's as easy as turning on your scale, zeroing your container, and then mixing the amount of glue you need. You'll learn about how much to mix for a given job as you go, but right now I'm going to be using 50 grams of glue crystals. This is enough, believe it or not, to do an average assembly. It's not a lot of crystals by volume, but that will change because now to this glue I am going to add twice the water by weight. So since I have 50 grams of glue, I add 100 grams of water. And now we stir that up. And we wait. So about half an hour has passed. If you're using a pellet glue, you might need to wait as long as overnight, but I find that with the ground hide glues, they often hydrate quite quickly. So what you're looking for is this. All that water has been absorbed, and I now have a gel at the bottom. Totally gel. So we take our hot glue pot and just kind of knock this puck of gel loose. It'll just sort of fall in there, yep, like so, and begin to melt. There are a number of advantages to using hot hide glue as compared to a more modern PVA glue or for the truly damned and lost souls in the world of woodworking, epoxy. Uh, the primary reasons being this. Hide glue can be expected in a properly fit and glued joint to last in the vicinity of 75 years, but perhaps much longer if the piece is well cared for. This includes the ambient humidity. Provided you don't go below around 10% relative humidity, the hide glue will hold. If you go below that, it does become too brittle and is likely to release from what it's holding. That said, the number of spaces that go below 10% relative humidity are very, very few. Hide glue has been used as a glue for woodwork and decorative work, such as veneering, inlay, and etc., for a very, very long time. In fact, if you were to visit the tombs of the pharaohs, the decorative work done on their sarcophagi and other fine goods with them was done using hide glue and hammer veneering, which is one thing you can do with hide glue that you can't do with any other kind of glue. The other advantage with hide glue is that if you have a joint that was previously glued with hide glue, you can re-glue it with hide glue without any additional preparation. You can also steam it or soak it to make it release. So you can take joints that were glued with hide glue apart without damaging them irreparably. If you have a joint that has failed that was made with hide glue, all that it needs is an application of fresh, hot hide glue, and that will reactivate the old glue as well and allow it all to bond again into a strong joint that's ready to go the distance. I'm doing this today because, as you may have noticed, if you're subscribing or if you have been following at all, it's been a while since my last Theorbo making video, because bending that rib and getting all the shots of that took a while, and then editing it all together is a big project too. So I wanted to show a little bit about how the glue that I use for that is made as a little teaser, and I promise that that video of that rib going on to the instrument will be ready soon. So subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to get that. And also, if you're interested in more information about how to use hide glue, I'm going to show just really quickly here how this is used and how quickly it's ready. But there are so many things you can do with this, from gluing a joint in a piece of furniture to hammer veneering, repair work, sizing joints, instrument making. There's so many uses for this hot hide glue. If you're interested in learning any of those specific uses, let me know. Leave a comment or something, because if there's interest, I would be happy to do a whole series on how to use hide glue for those purposes that it's better for in the modern wood shop rather than a PVA glue in a series of videos apart from the Theorbo making. All right, so here we go. I've got this box that is quite old, and this one piece of decorative overlay has come loose. Now, this has old glue, which would be an impediment to a modern PVA glue. Modern PVA glues work by penetrating into the pores of one piece and another piece before the water leaves them and the polyvinyl molecules in them interweave into a solid plastic. This creates a lot of strength because, in essence, you now have a third piece of material, this vinyl, that is interwoven with the grain structure of two pieces of wood, and that makes it hard to pull them apart. But that vinyl is flexible, so the glue line can creep, and it's irreversible in most situations, as well as being a one-off thing. Like PVA glue can bond two pieces of wood together once, But even if you manage to separate them cleanly at the glue line, which is unlikely, you can't ever use PVA to bond them again. So this is that place where hide glue works by a mechanical bond. It will adhere to the texture of these surfaces and then create a bond between them, just with traditional adhesion. And that's going to allow us to, even if this surface were compromised, if this were not perfectly porous anymore, it would still bind. And because this is old hide glue, this fresh hide glue is just going to melt that and rejoin it all together. I know that my hide glue is ready by the texture it takes. If I'm doing certain joinery, I want it thicker. If I'm doing veneer work, I want it a little thinner. And I can, I suppose, show how I determine that in some other videos. This glue is just right for this decorative joint though, so I'm going to go for it. We take our brush with some hide glue, we apply it to the surface to be glued. We apply it to both surfaces to be glued. So they're both hot and covered in glue. And then we just take that, flip it in place, press it down tight, and wait just a moment while that glue cools. And when it cools, it'll turn into a gel. And that's all it takes to hold that in place. A lot of joints you can make with hide glue with little or no clamping. And that has grabbed. It's not going anywhere. It's stuck. And cleanup is just as easy. Just a little bit of water on a soft cloth will remove wet hide glue. If the hide glue has dried in place, you have to use hot water, like boiling water almost, and a toothbrush. And we don't want to do that on this surface because that would strip the finish right off. We don't want to take this lovely old patinaed finish and gold leaf off of this box. So it's important that I come in here and I clean up that glue just as soon as it was used, just as it gels. Come in, clean it up, dry it off. Just like that, it's ready for another 100 years. So that's how easy it is to mix and use hide glue. Thanks for coming along for the ride. If you have any questions, let me know, and we'll see you soon with that next video in the Theorbo making series.